Deepak Karnani, founder, Siri1 Media Private Limited. Let's invite him with a big round of applause. With over 20 years, so please take the seat. With over 20 years of experience in the media and entertainment industry, and under his leadership, Siri1 Media has revolutionized regional content creation. His expertise spans television, digital media, and marketing. Mr. Deepak Karnani's vision for the future of media will undoubtedly inspire our attendees. Now, let's invite the panelists to join along with Mr. Deepak. Mr. Gaurav Seth, Head, Pivot Consult, Pivot Roots. Yeah. Mr. Gandhar Sachdeva, Country Head, India, Hybrid. Ms. Pooja Srivastava, Head, Digital Initiatives, Chrome DM.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm cognizant of the fact that this is amongst the last panels. So we'll try and keep it a little interesting and probably short as well, because I'm sure a lot of you have flights to catch. It's an interesting topic that we have today. And if you look at it today, technology and media are not just intersecting, but they're merging in a way that none of us could have ever imagined in the past. And with this dynamic group of panelists, we hope that we can touch upon certain opportunities and challenges that tech in media brings upon. I'd like to start with a quick introduction of the panelists. If you could just introduce yourselves and before we dive into the question.
Sure. Thank you so much, Deepak. So I'm Gandhar Sachdeva. I'm the country head India for Hybrid AI. And we have our own DSP in the market, and we also do in-image advertising, wherein we work with a lot of big agencies and clients, and we do a lot of innovative stuff in the programmatic sector and contextually as well.
Hi, I am Pooja, currently head digital initiatives at Chrome Data Analytics and Media. So earlier to this panel, I think we were asked about some OTT measurements. So yes, Chrome DM is into OTT measurements and giving digital video consumption trends to brands and broadcasters. So thank you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Gaurav Seth. I lead Pivot Consult, a vast company. Pivot Consult is a marketing and technology consultancy.
Gaurav, I'd like to start with you because you represent the agency ecosystem in a way out here. And if you look at the emergence of technology, there's been a huge shift in the media buying and planning patterns. How do you see that has impacted the way agencies kind of work and the offerings that they promote or offer to their advertising clients?
So if you see, the internet or the mainstream internet has been around for 30 years. Although internet has been there since the last 50 years, but mainstream, it's been there for the last 30 years, and programmatic advertising has probably come in 2008, 2009, so about 25 odd years. And then of course, the smartphone was launched in 2008, the Apple smartphone, and that's when the consumption of internet exploded. And that's of course where the eyeballs are, that's where advertising technologies are. So ad servers started coming in, and then other marketing technologies started coming in. So apart from the complexity of technologies that we speak of, if you see brands, marketeers, they are probably in their third or fourth cycle, if you consider each cycle to be 5 years, of using these technologies. And one of the challenges that they face is redundancy. Another challenge that they face is overlapping technologies. So the most important role of an agency, because the agency has the benefit of working with hundreds of, if not thousands of marketeers, is that they should be able to build their marketing stack or their advertising stack. So that's number one. Second, they should be helping them implement it so that they are driving value from it. And third, they should be able to sustain it so that brands see incremental value in using these technologies.
Taking on from your incremental value, we also have a huge kind of talk about the ecosystem of connected TV, which is emerging, right? One is that A, does it have scale, and B, how do we measure the impact of a campaign on the run on the connected TV universe? And I think Pooja's company does a lot of research around that, and even in the OTT space. So Pooja, if you could guide us on how best can a marketer, measure the impact, or an agency measure the impact of campaigns run on connected TV devices.
Sure. So thank you. And I think earlier to this panel where everybody was discussing television will go stronger and stronger, and everybody had their view about it. We, as a market research agency, we have collated a lot of ground data, and the point that I think the discussion is usually around whether television will survive or digital will survive. But the ground data is very simple. Both will survive. It's just we'll have, for now, we'll have a lot of overlap audiences. And this is what the our data also says, that probably, in the older age when we used to say that the television was there, but there was a lot of, I think there were appointment viewing was there for probably more than 6 hours, 7 hours. Right now it has reduced to half an hour, maybe 1 hour, 2 hour. And the rest of the hours shifted to digital. And according to our data, 69 million households have got connected to CTV, that is connected television. So just as a layman, like what is CTV? So whatever television set that is connected from internet is being called a connected TV. And so probably you may not be watching your television, even if you have cable. And if we specifically talk about South, it has got a large chunk, large part of households are still into pay TV. However, they are also consuming CTV as part of probably just viewing a movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, mostly behind a paywall. But I mean, soon we see a trend that they would also shift to CTV. So I guess if we see the digital trends, I think we should not talk in silos, and whenever we are connecting to a user, we should not talk in silos. We should talk about more of overlapping audiences. And there I think hyper-personalization, advertising, creativity, all of those come in. So yes, over to you.
So, Gandharv, in addition to that question, there is one of the ways in which advertisers are using CTV is to give incremental reach.
Right.
And I know your platform is also offering certain solutions which advertisers can use at a DSP level. So maybe if you could share more about how advertisers can get best out of the CTV ecosystem. So as it stands today.
Yeah, so what we've seen in the past is that there's been a lot of OTT consumption which was happening, and suddenly the trends came into wherein CTV came into place. And when we go to meet up our clients, agencies, they're like, we need CTV is something that has been required. So we as a DSP platform that we have our own, so we got connected to a lot of SSPs, and through those SSPs, yes, the inventory is available programmatically. But yes, at this point of time, the inventory is being still held by the organizations themselves, and they're doing a direct deal and everything. That's something which is happening. So having said that, in some time, as she mentioned, that 69% is now on the connected TV. The growth that we look at, I would say that if you look at a normal publisher, a digital publisher, Times of India, they've got a direct sales team. They have a non-direct sales team as well. And they're working, they are still not able to consume the 100% inventory over there. So once this inventory grows, at that point of time, programmatic is the platform wherein we can actually reach the right audience at the right time. Right. So like we have a product which is like TV Sync. So we work on the IP and the linear TVs over there, wherein at the time the ad is being consumed on the television, say 7 p.m., a television ad. At the same time, within a fraction of 3 seconds, we can show the same ad on the mobile, targeting the right user that you actually want to do. So these technologies are ready, they're ready to go, but yes, the inventory is something which has been required.
I'm glad you touched upon the programmatic ecosystem as well, because when you talk about technology in media, I think this is one tech that is that we've been hearing about since, I think, 2008-10 at least, yes, in India, maybe earlier in the West. Do you think that with the programmatic ecosystem coming in, so many terms, there's a DSP, there is an SSP, there's an ad exchange, then there is brand safety parameters, so on and so forth. Do you think it has, in a way, made advertising more complex, or do you think that, the goal, of course, was to make it simpler?
Yes, it's made it much more simpler, because earlier what used to happen was when I started my career and I was there, I was into sales, I was going ahead and selling the normal display ads. It was just the normal display ads that you sell, and you come back and do a normal CPM and you show the ad on a Times of India or an X website or a Y website. But with programmatic coming into place, the clients are now letting to know that the audience that they're looking at. So it's making life simpler for them. Yes, it's under the brand safety. The brand safety tools are all implemented, everything is done. So that is helping them in a very easy manner to manage their campaigns and to understand that yes, where they are and what they're actually doing.
Right.
Having said that, sometimes programmatic campaigns, the client comes up and says, Ki, I cannot see the ad. Where is the ad?
Common question.
That's a very common, that I cannot see the ad. But they, at the end, they know the ecosystem that they're running on. So it's a pressure that comes onto a DSP company, and then they cannot see the ad, but the ad has been shown, right, and someone somewhere has seen the ad with which they are also happy. So it's programmatic cannot be, I would say, doing a roadblock kind of a thing. But yes, it's a sustenance. It's helping in sustaining the campaign for any clients. That's what.
So, Gaurav, how do you advise your clients and how do you advise them in navigating this entire ecosystem? Because what we see at our end is there are, a couple of platforms which dominate these spends, and it's fairly difficult to move advertisers beyond these platforms, right? For example, PG deals dominate programmatic buys, but as Gandharv was hinting as well, the unsold inventory which goes into open auction, as that increases, that's true programmatic. So what do you as the brand custodians in the agency ecosystem advise your clients when it comes to programmatic ecosystem?
I mean, it's all driven by demand, obviously. So, but yes, see, we have to be agnostic, and we have to look at the best interests of the clients. So being an agency, it exposes us to different platforms, and it allows us to understand their strengths. So depending on what the strength of a specific platform is, and the good thing about the programmatic ecosystem is that it's not monopolistic or duopolistic, like search maybe for Google. There are companies, a lot of innovative companies that are there that have certain specific capabilities that are unique to their platforms. So our endeavor is to ensure that we expose all the different options that are available to our marketers and advise them, and then take it from there.
But in doing that, wouldn't you kind of one of the challenges, of course, why there are certain DSPs who get more business than the others is that you lose out on the fact of delivering unified reach, which is one of the promises of programmatic advertising. Is there a way in which we can address that as well? Because I'm sure Gandharv has a great product, but I'm fairly sure that there are a lot of challenges that he faces when it comes to media agencies in terms of adoption. So maybe you can also share about your challenges, and we have somebody who can help us advise on how to overcome those challenges.
I mean, see that, there is a good answer and then there is a real answer to this. So the real answer is that walled gardens will make it more and more difficult, actually. But creating a one view of customer is the holy grail.
Correct.
So
do you think we're moving in that direction? Are there any interoperable kind of solutions that are on the radar which you feel can address this challenge in the future?
So it depends on what identifiers are used. So cookies, there is an inherent problem because you can only read your own domain's cookies. But with other identifiers, it's easier to create a one view. So if we are able to gather that, but then again, programmatic advertising essentially relies on cookies and device IDs. These are the two. So cookies, for everyone's reference, is the unique identifier on the browser, and device IDs on the applications. This is mostly how we consume the internet. So maybe in the post acquisition world, where you've already acquired the customer and you are engaging with them on your own channels, like sending notifications and emails and all, there it's more feasible. In the pre-customer acquisition world of cookies and device IDs, it's slightly more challenging.
Right. Gandharv, you have anything to add to
No,
any of the challenges?
he's actually said it all.
Yeah.
This discussion has given me a lot of inspiration to create one.
There's a lot of money to be made if we can crack this.
But definitely, I think as far as advertising is concerned, it specifically leads, on brand or a particular category that you are dealing with. So in that sense, a lot of more parameters that can be added. Like he said, this just one unique identifiers. But what if there is a tool which can actually make sure that you are the correct right user for it. So I am somebody who watches, say, for Turkish drama. So probably I want to eat Turkish delight more, and there's one brand that serves Turkish delight and throws me that particular ad, I might buy it. So I'm just, so just saying, probably not the right inference, but just for, making the fact that probably more and more parameters can make the advertising, the programmatic advertising, more simpler.
Right. I think what you're suggesting is also that contextual advertising is something that we can.
So for that, what you mentioned, we already have a tool in place for that. It's something that which is known as Vox. We do in-image advertising, wherein our tool would actually scan the complete article and the image and detect what is needed in the image, and accordingly it will show the ad on the editorial image of the article. Wherein, like we're doing these campaigns for Himalaya, wherein it says that, okay, fine, if it's a lip balm, whether the image is relevant to see the ad or it is not, and the article is, then contextually we scan it and then we go ahead and show the ads. So the tools are there in the market. It's just that the marketers and the clients are still trying to understand that how best they can use these tools too.
So that's a great insight. And I mean, in these tools, again, do you see challenges of brand safety or contextual relevance coming in place? Like, how does your
so
AI read
we as a
the
company,
context?
we have our own internal brand safety and tools implemented where we do not face any problems. We just have to tick mark which are the negative keywords that cannot be taken care of, and we run these campaigns. That's not such a problem at all. Because when you implement in such AI tools and all, you have to take care of the brand safety.
Right.
The client is much more involved, and they would like that the negative articles should not have these ad connotations.
Right. So, I mean, we spoke a lot about various pieces of technology. You have AI, you have, contextual advertising. And what we've seen largely is over the past, decade or so, advertising moved from being creative-led, more data-led. I mean, I'll ask you all a question. When was the last time you saw a banner ad and went, wow? Right. So do you think that creativity is taking a backseat? And if so, do you as agencies and as, platform partners, as somebody who conducts post-campaign studies, do you also focus on the creative element of technology?
See, technology will help you, get to the right user. It will help you probably get to the right media at the right time of day, at the right place. But ultimately, what the user consumes is the content of the advertisement,
Right.
which is the creative, right? So the creative will always be the rock star there in this entire thing. But
Give
then
me an example of a good creative use.
no, but yeah, but let me complete. But when everything goes wrong,
Right.
okay, the first to be blamed is the technology because it's quantifiable, right? But to answer your question, I personally feel that the call to action or the content of that creative is the most important thing because that is what is creating that impact. If you are if you are not able to pass on the right message or the intended message, then it's kind of lost.
Right.
But obviously technology is also important so that you're not showing a diaper ad to an 18-year-old. So that's where targeting helps
Right.
you. But yes, creative is important, is equally important if not more important.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, when you say, even as a data researcher, we give a lot of weightage to serendipity. So it's not like that we, as a researcher, just data driven, but definitely creativity plays a major role where attention comes in that we measure. So how much attention span or how, perception of that particular ad is in terms of recall and awareness. So that is also part of data itself.
Right.
But yes, I think creativity is prime, I would say a factor of reaching out to the audience. Yes.
Do you see clients kind of giving weightage to your suggestions on creative, or again, Gaurav, maybe better place to answer, is attention score bigger than CPMs?
I think it's a everlasting debate. So we can go on forever.
I mean, see, it also depends on how you measure success, right? So every brand has their own objective, but yes, of course, there is standardization there as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it's different for every brand. So CPGs are more concerned about whether you're reaching the right audience, because India being like more male heavy in their distribution of gender, and CPGs having women oriented products. So it depends on what your use case is.
So I think pre-campaign it would be CPMs, post-campaign it would be attention score.
Absolutely. So
depends on the phase of the planning and execution as well.
absolutely.
So, I mean, you're talking about, Gaurav, that you have technology to do in image ads and stuff. A trend that we are seeing in OTTs as well as publishers. For example, New York Times going behind a paywall, Hindu going behind a paywall, certain other publishers in India going behind a paywall. Today we are a supply surplus market. Supply far outstrips the demand, in terms of ad inventory that's available in the digital ecosystem. But do you foresee a future where good supply would be a constraint in India ever?
No, in India not. Yes, if you go to a New York Times or a Wash Post, then definitely there will be. But in India, still there's a lot of right audience which is available and which is not behind the paywall, and it is still there. But if you want to go to the extra premium ones, then yes, it's Reuters, Forbes, NYT, Wash Post that you go to. But otherwise, the normal Indian scenario, the Indian publishers, even if it's behind the paywall, yes, they are outside the paywall as well. So we would not face this problem at all.
Here the creativity comes in. You can change ad formats in terms of how you can penetrate to the audiences who are behind paywall. So probably their advertising agencies can come up with some unique ideas like PUBG and all the gaming platforms have come in. So and they've I think successfully publicizing the brand. So
right, but again probably those would come with their own challenge. I'll just wait for Gaurav to answer.
So see, like ultimately a publisher wants the maximum bang for its impression, right? That's what they want, whether it's behind a paywall or whether it's advertising led. So where there is a lot of demand, you will probably, paywalls are like SaaS services. It's easy to get in but very difficult to get out. So you want people to subscribe to your content. But ultimately, even if there is supply constraint for some types of media, or some types of content, programmatic advertising allows you to take remnant inventory and layer it with data,
right,
and make it more premium and more valuable. So I feel, and then as he said, that in India 600 million internet users, there's a lot of supply anyway.
Right.
So I don't see that happening very soon, but yeah, data and programmatic allows you to solve for that as well.
But in the premium OTT space, maybe
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's something
absolutely.
that's a challenge. They're
Yeah.
not being able to monetize as much, and
Because
maybe a
consumption
hybrid
is so much,
ecosystem.
right? I mean, we are constantly
binge
seeing
watching.
reels. So content, at one point of time, content creators were like having a hard time, being heard actually by production houses. But now the trend is completely reversed. I mean, looking at the diversity, even like regional content is so much in demand.
Right.
Like, there isn't enough content there right now to be consumed.
So before the second bell goes out,
Okay.
we can conclude, and maybe if you would just like to share any closing statements or a piece of tech that you feel that we should watch out for, whether it's yours or whether it's something that you've seen, and some sort of Pooja, from your perspective, some sort of measurement analytics that advertisers need to put as well. So maybe we can conclude it with one statement from each of you.
I mean, I feel, it's the time to take a top-down approach with regards to technology, at least. Like, it shouldn't be that we are using data and systems to drive business use cases. It should be the other way around. That business use cases should drive the adoption of technology and data. So yeah.
Yeah, so as far as data consumption, as far as data is concerned, I think we need to look more from user perspective where the video consumption is happening, and should not look any one medium as silo. So
Right.
and look at overlaps, probably how digital and television are both, giving the, reach in a unique manner. So yes, and we do measure that, so yes. I think
And
that's important.
You feel that we have the option of watching the same content digitally or on linear TV, do you think the audiences are also fairly different? Like different people are watching the same kind of content as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think the archaic way of segregating the audience is also something that I personally challenge the advertisers to not look at that. Because right now, 14-year-old might not be different from 30-year-old. You know, the kind of data that they are consuming, the content they are consuming probably is the same. So probably we can go beyond age, gender, and the old archaic, you know, form of bifurcations, and can look more from the persona, you know, more towards the personal, you know, factors that may, you know, look at. So we are just defending that, advocating on that, but yes, I think data can give you a lot of insights, yes.
And then?
So I would just like to mention that yes, data is very important, and but according to that, creativity is much more important. So as we were just talking about, if we do not have good creatives and we just have the data, the campaigns can go for a toss. So because the engagement earlier, it was just that we were looking at the click-through ratios. Now we're looking at the engagement as well. So if it's a good engaging campaign, then yes, it's something we win the battle. Otherwise, we do not.
Perfect. So great to hear from all of you. I think we can open up for questions if you have time, or we can conclude it.
Thank you so much, everyone. And before you leave, I would like to invite Mr. Amar Rajkur from Hire to please come onto the stage to give away the mementos to the moderator and panelists.